I have had enough of people complaining about Chess Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Let me tell you about my experience so far. All I've seen on YouTube are videos, the servers don't work, the graphics are horrible, they put the prices of the cars up, Shut up, alright? It's fucking brilliant. Let me show you. Okay, and here we are. Now, firstly, I'm in this view just to show you the graphics. I've got a 7900 XTX in this computer, and I mean, it's running absolutely fine. I actually run it with VSync on. Normally, it's off at the moment. We're getting about 95 frames apparently according to the screen, but look at it. It looks great. It looks absolutely fine. It looks, to me, every bit like a modern game. There's nothing about this that looks PS3-ish. Some people have even compared it to the PS2 version. Are you mental? Go back and play that game and tell me what you think of it compared to this one graphically. Okay? Now, secondly, if you are going to insist on playing a Test Drive Unlimited game, then you must play in the dashboard view with, indeed, the windows down, and preferably with a wheel. I also have the addition of a handbrake as well, which I find is good fun. Gets the car moving a bit. I'm in a classic Mustang now, which I like razzing around in, and that's the joy of this game, right? That's the joy of Test Drive Unlimited games entirely, is you're driving around, you're just enjoying the car, and just enjoying, literally just feeling the car out, you know, and just going around the corners. And this game captures that perfectly. This game is one of those games where you don't actually want to use the fast travel too much. You're quite happy to take a drive, and quite a lot of the time, you'll find yourself actually forgetting what it was you were going to do because you just got encapsulated by the driving. Now, let's go to something a bit quicker, shall we? We are in the Pista. And this thing I have fully modified, and it's absolutely incredible. I absolutely love this car. The way it picks up speed, how violent it is. We're spinning in fifth here. It's completely uncontrollable, and I'm loving every second of it. In this game, there are different types of tyre, and they are incredibly prevalent, okay? For instance, you can see here standing water, and I've got slicks on, so even though I'm cruising in fifth, I'm able just to spin the wheels up quite quickly. The game is classified as a simcade, and I kind of go along with that. I don't really think it's definitely leaning, I would actually argue, towards sim rather than arcade in some circumstances, especially with regards to the amount of correction that you have to put in and how much it actually relies on you to keep control of the car. Might be worth mentioning, I play the game with all the driving aids off. Sorry, just to clarify, I've actually got ABS on at the moment because I was driving the Lamborghini Aventador for an event, and that thing locks its wheels as soon as you even go near the brake pedal. So I actually, as I speak, do have ABS on. But, yeah, I love it. It's great. The handling in the game, the driving in the game, the experience is absolutely fabulous. Now, don't get me wrong, there are things missing, okay? Quite a lot of things missing, actually. One of those, no. A lot of those things are sort of test drive sort of things that we would have expected from a game at launch. These are things that have been mentioned quite a lot over the board, such as courier events where you courier the cars, driving people from A to B. Basically, we're talking challenges, okay? Houses as well, blah, 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 blah. People want to go to Ibiza. They say they're going to do that. That's coming in December. But really, I mean, sure, the game isn't complete yet. It's quite obvious to see that. But it fucking works. I will die on that hill. It works. I've played races with friends. I'm driving right now. I've been playing this game for about 70 hours. And sure, I've had the odd... I lost control a little bit. I've had the odd, server glitch here and there. I'm sure we all have. Just to be clear, there is absolutely no excuse for the console release of this game, especially for the pre-release version of the game. That was atrocious, and I hope those people do get a refund. I'm sure that both Nacon and KT themselves really didn't want that to happen, and it's a shame that it did. Now, before I go too far into this, I want to be completely clear with you, okay? I haven't played any other modern racing games. So, Forza Horizon 5, the Crew Motorfest, Never really played any Assetto Corsa games. I actually own Need for Speed Unbound. I've never played it, so I should probably get on that. But this game is the first modern game that I've played, modern racing game that I've played, and I'm loving it. So I'm new to the whole thing of seasons and that sort of whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and say that I actually quite like the season progression in this. You know, the way you get the extra XP for doing things. I will say, though, if I can find the menu. So here we go. Here's the Solar Pass. And as you can see, I'm on to level 6 already. And then it goes up. And on level 5, there's a £50,000. Now, the progression here, you get random unlocks as you go up, and then of course you get a car if you get King Dinger right at the end there, level 25. The only complaint from me with this is that every money unlock is 50 grand. I feel like they should start at 50, then go up to 100, then maybe 200, then 3, I don't know, whatever. But it should go up in some increment, right? Just to have 50 each time is a bit of a slap in the face, in my opinion. But I actually quite like the progression, and it gives you a little something. Plus, when you complete a race, it gives you like a super serotonin hit, because you hopefully win the race, you get the XP, you get the money, you get the season XP, you get your clan respect points as well, and it just goes up and up and up and up, and really, I love that. But then again, that's because this is the first game where I'm being bombarded with that. The most recent game I played before that was Forza Horizon 4. You know, the one based in the old Blighty, the England. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really cool game. I would say that was way more arcadey than this game in driving feel. And I played that with a friend called Matt, very beloved friend of mine. And we had nothing but disconnects and horrible experience all the way through when trying to play races together and such like. It was catastrophic. This was 1 year after release. We're both on, computers with Windows on. We're both playing through Xbox Game Pass, which of course is Microsoft as well. And this is a Forza is developed essentially by Microsoft. So they still couldn't get it right on their own platform 1 year later. So the fact that we're having some server disconnects 1 month after the original game pre-released, I honestly don't really care that much. I still think that it's a really good foundation to build on, and that's great. There are bugs in the game. You will see traffic flying across. The AI do weird shit sometimes. That is definitely prevalent. It's on their radar, and I'm sure it's something that they'll fix as soon as possible. And these are things that games do, right? You make a game, and there's just little things that you have to weed out. I'm not going to lie, it feels like the game was released too early, okay? It feels like that even developers and everything would have definitely known about these things and were forced to release the game early. Now, I don't know how or who, and we probably never will find out who actually forced the game to release early. Probably not KT, because this is their work, and like an artiste, the work is never done. So I reckon it's probably either come from Nacon or from shareholders or people that hold the money or whatever it might be. But the fact that they were forced to release the game early is why we've got like loads of features missing, the challenges missing. That's why there's all these glitches and bugs and things like that. And it's unfortunate, but it's the cards that they're dealt, and thus the cards that we're dealt. I would like to point my guns, cha-chink, at the fact that this has mostly negative reviews now on Steam, at least. That's insane, right? This is a £40 game. Forza Horizon 5 is £50. Forza Horizon 4 is still £55 for some reason. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the prices on Steam are weird because they want you to go over to Xbox, right? It's probably cheaper over there. I don't even know. But so Steam's prices are a bit all over the shop. But the fact of the matter is, this game is cheaper. It's not a 40... People, when it was released, were comparing it to the likes of those games because it was on tier with those, because people were buying the super pre-release version that they paid £70 or £80 for. I can't really remember, actually. I did buy it, but I can't remember. I think it was 70 something. I can't remember. And thus it puts that in that realm. Dude, you're getting the top tier game with all the DLCs and everything. I feel like you're paying £40 and then basically giving them the extra £20 or £30 to say, here you go, I'm supporting the development of this game. Good luck on your quest. The car selection in the game is really good. I mean, you just saw me go from a Ford Mustang that was murdered out to a Pista that's fully modified. There's no limits to how many cars they can have in the game. And the fact that the dealerships, some people have complained that the dealerships have replicated cars in there. Yeah, sure, man. Would you rather it was just half a dealership and then the other half empty, and, you know, you just have space for cars to go in there in future? No, you're going to duplicate cars and make it seem filled out. It's realistic after all, because that's what you would do, wouldn't it? Going back to the game for a moment here, and specifically we're going to talk about tuning for a moment. The tuning in the game I really like. You get really quite a lot of different stages and you can sort of feel it out. You don't have to go balls to the walls and make your car completely undrivable. You can just add a bit of pep to its step here and there. And when you do modify it, you get, if you can hear that gearbox whine. If I try to... Oh, Mustang. Oh, now I've gone off-road. But you hear that gearbox whining, right? That's because I've got that racing gearbox with those straight-cut gears in there whining at me. I love it. I love the sound of it. And that's then throughout all the other modifications as well. So the turbos, obviously, they make noises. You get pops and you get all sorts of crackles and stuff. And the chatter, you hear that little bit of chatter then as I crashed into the wall? Fabulous. Good news. Oh, one thing though, if you are going to play Test Drive Unlimited in cockpit view, open the bloody windows. Sounds so good! I've got slicks in the wet, as mentioned, so this is ridiculously undrivable. Look at how good it looks. How are you saying this? I'm going to say... I have seen screenshots of the console version of the game, and on at least the PlayStation version, I know you can go for performance or quality. And on performance mode, where it lowers the resolution and ups the frame rate, I have seen some screenshots of that looking particularly poor, so I can't really quote much first-hand experience. The only thing I will say, and it is quite, I don't know if it's unique to this car, but it's prevalent. You can see, actually, the top of the steering wheel where you've got that big yellow dial there. Now, that's fine. You can see some reflections going over it as we speak. But can you see that? If I stop where some light is behind me there, you see how it's got almost dots in it, right? And I think that that is actually something to do with my graphics card and the way that the graphics are working with the engine here or something. I didn't notice it before the 300 plus update, but here we go. I mean, it looks just a bit weird. That's the only thing I've noticed. That, and sometimes around the aperture of the windscreen, you get vibrant purple lines. Very rarely, but like it's almost like there's a reflection or a texture or something that's missing, and that's the default. I don't know, but I love this so much. I could do it all day. I have done it all day a few times because I love the game. Here's another thing to like about the game. The collectibles, right? So at the moment, really, the game is an open world driving game, I'm going to call it, with some races. Those races are now mostly successful and able to be played online. And you get collectibles like this. They're also available in, you know, XP and money as well, which is lovely. You end up going around there. There's also hidden wrecks, of which I found both, because just exploring the map and feeling it out and everything, trying out different cars, is just absolutely great. I love it to bits. The thing that I will say about the exploration is the off-roadness of it. You can definitely tell where they want you to go off-road and where you find yourself off-road, if that makes sense. They tend to sort of guide you in the right direction by the use of very steep cliffs and rocks. So if you find yourself in either of those situations, then you know something's gone wrong somewhere. Finally, with regards to exploration as well, is what I'm doing right now, and actually subconsciously doing it whilst I'm talking to you guys, but road discovery. You see at the moment, on the minimap down the bottom left, most of the roads are like a bit of a white, a light grey at best, and then right in front of me, there is a dark grey line. Well, as I drive over that, that's going to then turn into light grey, as you can see. And up ahead down here, if I attempt to control the car down here, there's some more. And basically, as you collect and indeed uncover road, I'm going to use a bit of handbrake here and get up there, you will unlock XP. You get XP for discovering the map, if you like. And it gives you that really big incentive to really go out driving and exploring the map, not just playing the races. Wheels spin at 100 mile an hour in fifth. Woohoo! I want to talk about some things that I really don't like about the game, some things that I would like to see changed, and some things that really turn me off of playing it. And actually, the first one is in races. You do tend to find yourself quite a lot of the time just playing races on your own, right? And that means you get AI. Now, AI in this game, I'm sure you've seen it in other videos, is absolutely brutal. Not only are they difficult in most cases, but they're actually really malicious in the way that they drive. They will knock you off the road, they don't care where you are, they'll barge you off the racing line. Sometimes, in fact, quite a lot of the time when they start, they will immediately turn into you to crush you off the grid. So, yeah, that's something that they have admitted to and they are working on, I believe. But it's something that really angers me when I play the game. Don't get me wrong, I want to be somewhat challenged when I play a game. I tend to play games more for fun than to challenge myself. You know, I work and I do things and I work on cars to challenge myself. I don't need my computer to start challenging me too. I would rather just drive around like I was a driving god and then, you know, just slowly unlock XP and cars and stuff. That's what I really would like. The other thing then is that when you are in a race with AI and you're losing terribly because the AI are quite difficult and rambunctious in the way that they drive, is that you can't restart the race. Now, you can in time trials, that's absolutely fine, but you cannot in a race, even when you're just against AI characters, which is both annoying because you constantly get destroyed. You always have to drive on the top of your limit, and that means you find yourself not only having accidents, but when you do have an accident, that's it. They pass you and there's no way of catching up, really. So, there's nothing to do apart from abandon the event, then go back into the event, then select the car you want, select the tyres you want, and then probably use an auto config or something because your car's too powerful. I know, it can get quite a lot quite quickly. One of the other things that I don't like as well is that there's quite a few cars known in the community as meta cars. No, not the people who own Facebook, but they are cars that are sort of the best cars for that race, right? So if you're in the Grand Touring category, then the Porsche Taycan is quite a formidable beast, and that means unless you're in one, you're going to be finding it quite difficult, even more difficult, and sometimes the only way to do it is to buy one. Now, a lot of the time people will still persevere and they will buy a car that they want to, and they will do the races that they want to in the car that they want to, and it's incredibly difficult, or they're incredibly good. Either way, I don't possess those skills, so it's difficult for me, and I have been down the path of, well, in fact, the Grand Touring category, right? I bought the car I wanted to. None of them actually in the Grand Touring category tickled my fancy that much, but BMW M4 did. And that turns out to be probably one of the best drift cars in the game, but it can't put power down for shite. And that means that in order to be competitive, I had to buy the Porsche Taycan. Yeah, that was easy then. I was just whoop, and obviously it's electric and you just go whoosh, and you find yourself lovingly whisked away. And probably the final thing is that when you are in a race, before you enter a race, you can select what tyre you want. As I mentioned, it's quite a good thing to do, to take time to make sure you select the right tyre. The game will lie and say that it's a dry track, cloudy or whatever, but don't worry about it, you're okay. But actually the road surface has got standing water on it, or, it's hard for me to say actually, but actually quite rarely is the track dry, ready for slicks. Quite a lot of the time there will be standing water, or at least some moisture, even if not raining, and the only way to really find out the driving conditions is to try the event once, and then come back to it again, which is a bit annoying, because you should be able to just find out what tyres you want. It does actually give you a recommendation of tyre when you go into the game, when you go into the race, but that's not always correct either. And of course, if you can get away with a slick, then you definitely want to, because you're going to have an advantage, right? To end on a positive note then, the game is really good. I really like it. I have played online with friends. I've been streaming it. The community that have been coming into my chat, and also the community that I've met online, have been really cool, and so cool to play with as well. The game sounds amazing. It's probably the best driving game sounds I've ever heard. And the races, even though they are just races at this point and they're not really too unique, the design and the fact that you're in Hong Kong, the amount of effort and detail they put into them really feels good. You tend to have to do races over and over again because of how hard the AI is, at least for me. And that means that you really find yourself dialing in those corners and, of course, tuning your car. You can tune, rather like in most racing games, your gear ratios, downforce, tyre pressures, and all that sort of stuff as well. So it can be really cool to sort of nerd out a bit if you want to, and just tune it in a bit and make sure that the car suits your driving style quite a bit. It really does feel like then that you're claiming ownership of this car and that it's unique to you and you're putting your stamp on it, if that makes sense. And that is one of the things that Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown conveys extremely well, and why I believe it's an extremely good foundation for them to be adding more content to in future, and hopefully some challenges, houses, Ibiza, a casino, and more players, hopefully. Thank you very much for watching. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. I mean, I hope that you have had good experiences with the game. And hey, let's remember, it's still only 1 month in. And I was playing Forza Horizon 4, who was from a much larger developer with a much larger price tag 1 year down the line, and it was worse, as my experience, than Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is right now. Something to be held to. Thanks for watching. I've been Mike, and I'll catch you in the next one.